Let's look closely at the apply section of your assessment. So you are given a scenario about a treehouse. Dan offered to help his family members repair the incredible treehouse in their backyard by replacing a few of the rotting pieces of wood with new pieces of lumber he will purchase at the local hardware store. Fortunately for Dan, he noticed many right triangles in the treehouse architecture and thought he might be able to use the Pythagorean theorem to help him find some of the unknown measurements. On the following pages, there are two options to find an unknown side using the Pythagorean theorem, and you will help Dan make a decision about which wood to purchase at the hardware store. Note, the shortest piece of lumber is the cheapest, and the longest piece of lumber is the most expensive. Dan wants to make sure each piece he buys is long enough to complete each right triangle, but he does not want each piece to be too long because that would require the purchase of a saw. So you'll see when you click on the document that there are actually two options. But since you're being given the modified version of the test, you are automatically going to choose option 1. And the reason why is because I have actually filled out and done option 2 for you to give you an idea of what a completed assessment will look like. So let's first read the version that you're going to do on your own, and then let's go through the example so that I can show you exactly what will need to be included. So Dan noticed in the right triangle formed directly below the treehouse, the piece of wood that could be called the hypotenuse, that's this one here, of the right triangle was starting to rot. So he planned to replace it with a new piece of wood from the local hardware store. The lengths of the two legs given are 25 inches and 27 inches. That's this leg here. He found that he had three options to purchase. Option A, 32 inches. Option B, 37 inches. Option C, 44 inches. So here are the directions of what you're going to do and exactly what you will submit for your apply assessment. It says using a separate sheet of paper or the workspace worksheet that is provided for you, complete steps 1 and 2 for part B of your assessment. When you're finished showing your work and writing your paragraph, take and upload a picture of your paper and submit the picture for this Canvas assignment. Please make sure your camera is in focus and close enough for your teacher to read the writing before taking the picture. It's best if you put your paper on a hard surface and use a phone or other camera that you can take the picture above the paper rather than holding the paper up to a webcam if possible. Review the rubric to make sure you have included all of the requirements for a score of 30 out of 30. So here are steps 1 and step 2. Help Dan find the length of the hypotenuse of this right triangle formed. Show all steps of your work. Round your answer to the nearest tenths place if necessary. Then write a paragraph explaining which lumber option, A, B, or C, is best for Dan to purchase. Be sure to justify your thinking with a mathematical and a written explanation. So this is the option that you're going to choose. Just so you have an idea of exactly what it will look like, not exactly because you're doing a different problem, I have done option 2 for you. So let me go ahead and go through that quickly and then you can get started. Dan decided the staircase behind the treehouse would be more stable and secure if he could add a piece of wood to complete the base of the right triangle. The piece of wood he purchases will make up the leg of the right triangle that is currently labeled with question marks. So it's this bottom leg here. He measured the height, the other leg, of the right triangle that is currently oops, I read the wrong thing. He measured the height and the hypotenuse and thought those measurements, 50 inches for the height or the leg and 85 inches for the hypotenuse, would help him determine the length of lumber he needed to buy. And his options for this one are A, 60 inches, B, 65, and C, 70. So the directions are exactly the same for option B, or excuse me, option 2, except that in option 2, notice that Dan is actually finding an unknown leg instead of a hypotenuse of the right triangle like he is in option 1. So just so you can see what a completed example looks like, you're going to go to this here where it says to see a completed example, click here. And you can see that I have done this for you. So again, don't submit this because this is not the example that you're going to be doing. But you can notice that I've shown all my work using Pythagorean theorem. I solved for B since I was trying to find the length of a leg. I got my final answer and I rounded it to the nearest tenth of an inch as the directions stated. And then I looked, so I found that the leg was 68.7 inches, and I had to help Dan make a decision of which size of lumber he should buy, A, B, or C. And then I wrote a paragraph and made sure that I justified my thinking with math and a written explanation. So I wrote, Dan should choose option C because the piece of lumber is 70 inches in length. When using the Pythagorean theorem, the piece of wood Dan needs to buy is a leg of a right triangle. When I solved the equation for B, I found it to be about 68.7 inches, rounded to the nearest tenth place. The piece of wood should be at least this long to fit in the space. So option C is Dan's only option. All right, so once again, you are going to complete option 1, not option 2, because that one's already been done for you. If you want, you can print this workspace worksheet, or if you don't have access to a printer, you can just show your work and write your paragraph on a sheet of paper, take a picture of that paper, and submit that for your Canvas assignment. Good luck, and let your Math 8 teacher know if you have any additional questions.